What's interesting about this week is that we have the trade deadline on Thursday. That means we might have some moves right before games start, and there's no better time to capitalize on value.
With that said, let's dive into this Tuesday card. Core plays Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, PG, SG. OKC, $10,500 DraftKings, $11,700 FanDuel. The OKC stud has scored at least 38 DraftKings points in all but 2 games this year, posting a 54-point average. He's also got at least 56 DK points in 4 straight fixtures and is clearly making a run at MVP with Joel Embiid out of the picture.
Facing Utah only adds to his intrigue, posting a 27th OPRK against opposing guards. That was clear when Gilgeous scored at least 50 fantasy points in both of their matchups this year.
Jalen Brunson, PG, NYK, $9,700 DraftKings, $9,700 FanDuel. The NY point guard is averaging 44 DraftKings points per game, scoring at least 47 fantasy points in 5 consecutive outings. He needs to do more with Julius Randle sidelined, and we don't mind that he faces a Memphis team that owns an 18th OPRK against opposing guards.
Cam Thomas, PG, SG, BKN, $7,300 DraftKings, $7,400 FanDuel. Thomas looks like the best scorer when given the opportunity, and that's precisely what Brooklyn is doing right now. He's been inserted into the starting lineup, scoring at least 32 fantasy points in 6 straight games since the promotion.
He's also flirting with a 40-point average in that span and should destroy Dallas. The Mavs are allowing the most fantasy points to opposing guards this year. Cash game considerations: Luka Doncic, PG, Dal, $12,000 DraftKings, $12,600 FanDuel. Doncic is the best player in DFS right now.
The Slovenian just had his worst game of the season, but a 36-point floor is still outstanding. More importantly, Luka is leading the NBA with 66 DraftKings points per game, posting a 70-point average over the last month.
He bludgeoned Brooklyn the last time they played, collecting 49 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists. Alperen Sengun, C. How, $9,000 DraftKings, $9,200 FanDuel. Sengun has stepped into stardom this year, establishing himself as the Rockets' best player.
They always run their offense through Sengun and Fred VanVleet, but he should be the focal point with FVV sidelined. That alone boosts Sengun's value, especially since he's averaging over 44 DraftKings points per game.
The matchup is the icing on the cake because Indy plays at the fastest pace in the league while ranking 26th in defensive efficiency. GPP targets Luke Kennard, SG, SF. Mem. $5,700 DraftKings, $5,400 FanDuel. All Memphis starters are currently sidelined with differing injuries, and it feels like the second unit is also on the injury report.
Kennard is one of the only guys we know will play, which should guarantee him 35 to 40 minutes and 15 to 20 shots. This sharpshooter needs to be above $6,000 in that type of role, averaging 27 DK points per game when he plays at least 28 minutes.
Alex Caruso, PG, SG, Chi, $5,500 DraftKings, $6,200 FanDuel. It's hard to understand why Caruso has remained so cheap. This is one of the best defensive players in the league, and he's got a career-high workload with Zach LaVine sidelined.
That's led to AC scoring at least 27 DraftKings points in 8 of his last 10 games, posting a 32-point average across 32 minutes a night. You can't ask for anything more from such an affordable player, and we didn't even mention that Kobe White is also questionable.
Value plays Jalen Green, PG, SG. How? $7,100 DraftKings, $7,200 FanDuel. With Van Vliet out for this game, Green is impossible to avoid. This former top 3 pick is already amid the best stretch of his career, averaging 42 DraftKings points per game across his last 7 outings.
That could be his floor with Van Vliet sidelined, because that'll bump Green's minutes, usage, assists, and shot attempts. We already talked about how incredible a matchup Indiana is, allowing the 8th most fantasy points to opposing guards.
Josh Hart, SG, SF, NYK, $6,300 DraftKings, $6,600 FanDuel. Hart has been a regular in my articles over the last week, and he's rewarded us with some stellar play. We wanted to use him once Randall went down because that forced him into a 35-minute role as the starting power forward.
This guy can stuff the stat sheet with that opportunity, scoring at least 33 DraftKings points in 4 of his last 5 fixtures. That shouldn't be an issue to reach against a G League Grizzlies team. Jacob Gilyard, PG, Mem, $5,200 DraftKings, $5,300 FanDuel. The shortest player in the NBA is now the starting point guard for the Grizzlies, scoring 29 and 34 DK points in his 2 most recent starts.
He also played 32 and 36 minutes in those outings and needs to be on the floor with how short-handed this team is right now. Finding a $5,000 point guard looking at 35 minutes is a DFS player's dream, particularly since he has to stay on the floor whether this game stays close or not.
Advantageous pricing. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, PG, SG, OKC, $10,500 DraftKings, $11,700 FanDuel. Jabari Smith, PFC, Who, $5,200 DraftKings, $6,300 FanDuel. Andrew Nebert, PG, SG, Ind, $4,800 DraftKings, $5,800 FanDuel. Buddy Hield, SG, Ind, $4,700 DraftKings, $5,700 FanDuel. Markelle Fultz, PG, ORL, $4,700 DraftKings, $5,900 FanDuel. Isaiah Hartenstein, C, NYK, $6,400 DraftKings, $7,800 FanDuel. Rudy Gobert, C, Min, $6,900 DraftKings, $8,000 FanDuel. Andre Drummond, C, Kai, $5,000 DraftKings, $6,000 FanDuel. Josh Giddey, PG, SG, OKC, $5,900 DraftKings, $6,900 FanDuel.